Okay, everybody, give me 2 seconds. I gotta go run get the puppy. She's being a little crazy, which you'll find out as we have a kitchen stream again tonight. So give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Hello everyone! As you can see, it's not quite my usual setup, but we are having a lot of fun with it anyways. Hi, hello, friends. Welcome in. It is Friday night. It is time to make something tasty for dinner. Welcome to my kitchen. It is a very nice kitchen. Yes, it is actually a very, very nice kitchen, Jim. Full disclosure, I live with my parents. It's not a bad thing. COVID made things happen, and you know what? I come from a culture where multi-generational living, homes is a norm. You know? People live with multi-generation, and it's not a bad thing. But this is actually my mother's kitchen. She updated it a few years ago. You can see the stove right there as I step out of the way so I can pull my hair back, which, if you have long hair, is really important when you're cooking because, you know, cooking. But it does take a second to do. Very nice stove. It's a 5-burner gas stove. Hello time! Welcome in! It is an excellent way to end a Friday. It is indeed. We're going to be cooking some dinner tonight. I did a test stream of this on the mobile actually. When I did the test stream, it was more to test the layout and if the kitchen could function in a way that I could do this. There. Okay. It's there, it's just not showing up. Alright. But we are, let me know if the music is too loud because I can't actually hear it. I mean, I can, but it's good. Loose, long hair when cooking, not friendly. I also have a gas stove here, people. This is open flame. I've done it. I do it. It's not healthy. I don't recommend it. And if I'm going to be on stream doing this, well, I should probably not violate certain, safety requirements. So yes. Hi. How are we doing tonight? How are things? How is everybody else out there? How's your Friday going? Gonna get things started in a second because we've got a lot to do tonight, and then after we finish and we have dinner already, we're gonna go raid into Trooper. He's doing a TTRPG stream tonight, so that'll be good. But this is a really kind of easy night, except for dessert. Dessert will be a little complicated. We actually have to start with dessert first, which is the best place to start. The world could end at any moment. Eat dessert first, people. Eat dessert first. So, you know, that's my PSA about the importance of dessert. Right over there. Aha. Okay, so now that I can see everybody, it's looking okay. Is the music too loud? It looks like it's pinging a lot, so let me bring it down just a bit so it's not quite so loud and it's nice background music for everybody. I feel like it's, you know, okay, right? I feel like it's okay. Well, I feel like we could bring it down a little bit. We should bring it down just a touch. I'm feeling the vibe needs to be a little more chill. We'll bring it down to chill. We'll bring it down to chill. That's what we'll do. All right. So, it can be disconcerting when the chef becomes flambe. I mean, when I have, okay, so full disclosure, we were a little late getting started because I was playing around to get the second camera to work, and it doesn't because I don't have a splitter or an Elgato Stream Deck. I need a Stream Deck. That's next on my list of things to eventually get. Because I have this really great recipe that I love to do. Like I love to eat it, and B, I just love to do it because it's a lot of fun. It's rack of lamb au poivre with a flambé cognac sauce. Mwah. Beautiful. That is not what is on the menu today, but when I get a splitter and I can have multiple cameras, I will do that because I do not do flambé over the gas stove. I do flambé over the sink. Take 2 seconds, people, and do your flambé in a safe environment. I don't even, okay, so is it just not showing up? Property, is chat? Okay. Don't know why that's not showing up. Don't know why the chat box isn't working. You know what? We'll get rid of it for right now because it's not working. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There we go. Now it's just me on the screen. All right. You can have to stare at me. It's sorry, people. You know, there aren't any interesting things. So, first things first. We have to make the sweet cranberry orange sweet rolls for dessert. And then we're going to make, well, the dough for that is rising. We're going to start the chili, and then we're going to switch back and forth because cooking is timing, baking is chemistry. There you go. That's my PSA. You don't have to be precise in cooking except for timing and heat control. Baking, you have to be precise because you need to make sure that the leavening agents work the way they're supposed to and all of these other things. But at the end of the day, you're here to have fun. You're here to eat something, and it doesn't, look, looking pretty is great. We all want things to look pretty, but if you're at home and you're like, I think this tastes good and it doesn't look great, taste is more important than looks. Taste is more important than looks. Don't light things on fire. We're getting a list. We should make a list of like the important like cooking rules. But first things first, actually, because I need to chill, we're going to make the filling for our cranberry orange sweet rolls. And we're going to begin with the cranberry, because cranberries are good. Also, it's October, which means it's fall and you can get fresh cranberries at the store. And for this, you want fresh or frozen. You don't want dry. You want fresh, because it's gonna do the thing that you want, only if it's fresh. Which is, it's gonna turn into a very nice puree that we're gonna throw through a sieve, because, you know, you don't want to have your cranberry filling with skin and other bits that you don't really like of the cranberry. Scissors. Scissors are important. But we're gonna get this started. You know, nice small saucepan. You can go bigger. I always go smaller because we're gonna cook it down, and the more heat it retains, the better. Ooh, look at those cranberries, right? Those look really good. I'm just gonna do this occasionally. Occasionally I'll just do this, right? That works. I'll just move the camera. We'll be playing with the camera all week, all day. All right, now, the next step is optional. I think it tastes better. I think it works better. All of the alcohol will cook off, but I understand if some people don't feel comfortable cooking with alcohol. That's a personal choice. I don't judge you for. But cranberry orange, we need some additional orange for this. And we also need a little liquid to get these cranberries to start doing their thing. So I'm gonna use some triple sec. You could use some Cointreau as well if you want to be fancy. I do not recommend using Grand Marnier because Grand Marnier has a different consistency as an alcohol in this. It's gonna just not work as well because you really just want it to add flavor and liquid so that it'll also change the heat temperature of the cranberries so it starts cooking faster, theoretically. Grand Marnier is a little bit different. It'll add more sugar, which you don't always want in this because we're going to be adding a lot of sugar, right? There's going to be sugar in the dough, there's going to be sugar in the icing, there's going to be sugar that you add to this. Hey, Fawn, thank you for bringing your crew over. We really appreciate it. How was the last of the Next Fest? I had to dip out when I, at the end of Thirsty Suitors, but how was the last one going? How did that go? I really appreciate you coming in here, bringing your crew down. It really is a lot of fun. We are just getting started because, you know, tech and life. We are bringing together two of the best things in the world. Fresh cranberries and orange liqueur. And you will notice when I cook, it's, I am Sicilian, and so recipe measurements are fuzzy, except in baking. It was really good. It was a really lovely world exploration and recording game. Oh, okay, that's great. The cooking's getting started. We are starting with some good old filling for our sweet rolls that we're gonna get going. We have a little triple sec and some fresh cranberries. They're just gonna sit there and currently be happy on the stove. Next step is cooking with making our dough for our sweet rolls. And now, this is a general sweet roll recipe. If you don't know what a sweet roll recipe is, you don't know what sweet rolls are. In the United States, we usually call them cinnamon rolls or cinnamon buns. They're also known as Chelsea buns if you watch the Great British Bake Off, but it's a yeasted enriched dough that you then add fillings to of various types and bake and enjoy. This calls for butter, milk, and eggs because it is an enriched dough. I personally, me, myself, and I have welcome in. Hey y'all. Thank you for bringing your crew by. Thank you for bringing your team here. We appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you that's here. It's a great thing. There we go. That's the last one I want. All right. I personally have an allergy to cow's milk, which means I can't do cow's milk. I can't do cow's milk cheeses anymore. But I can do, I cook with butter because there really isn't a substitute. Margarine can do a lot of things. Oil can do a lot of things, but butter and margarine have different fat contents and different fat burns, so that's going to be a whole different thing. The kitchen, as promised, yes, as you can see, the stove, very nice. So, because I have an allergy to cow's milk, we're going to go with some good old coconut milk for this recipe. I'm still going to use the butter because there really isn't a real substitute for that, and there's enough change in the butter that it's not a big deal. Also, one of the best things that were ever invented, Pyrex. Oh, and you can start hearing the cranberry popping over there. That's what they're gonna do. They're just gonna sit there and be happy. I'll stir them occasionally. They'll start splitting. All right, so we're getting our milk started. We're gonna have to warm our milk. Warm milk is not scalded, it's not scorched, it's not hot. It's warm. However, I do not think that unless you are making a porridge that you are currently actively stirring or a hot chocolate, you need to warm your milk on the stove. You don't need to do that. That's what microwaves were invented for, people. So, we're going to take, as I spill this coconut milk, I'm gonna go pour over the sink, okay? Because it's very full and I don't want to make a huge mess, but I'll keep talking to everybody. And if you're going to be like me and cook with almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, any of the non-dairy milks out there, or even goat's milk if that's what you choose to use. I use goat's milk in a lot of other things. I don't usually do it in baking because it can leave a little extra sourness to some people. I mean, we're gonna add enough sugar that it won't matter, but you wanna make sure you get unsweetened milk for this purpose. You don't want sweet milk. You don't want sugar or flavored coconut milk. I mean, you don't want vanilla sweetened coconut milk in your baking. It's not gonna end well at the end of the day. But we're gonna start with our milk. We're gonna go warm it. And warm it usually means about 30 seconds on, about half power, maybe a little bit over. If it's not, test it. If you can feel it through the glass of the Pyrex, or if when you put your knuckle into it, you can just feel it warm on your skin, then your milk is perfectly warm. It's not scalded, it's not hot, it's not separating, it's just warm. Also, you always want to make sure that you're cooking at your temperature that is you're cooking at all of your ingredients are at the same temperature, which is why I brought the butter out so it can come to temperature. I've got the milk coming to temperature for the second part of this recipe, which will be later. I've got the eggs coming to temperature. All of these things at the same temperature is going to be better and incorporate better and faster into whatever you're cooking. Yeah, it is a step that so many people forget to do. I'm gonna raise my hand and say I don't always do it, but tonight I will remember and do it correctly. Because, you know, I'm with all of you, so I should remember to do this correctly. But if, you know, sometimes it's really not that important. Sometimes it is. It can be fuzzy. But let me check on the cranberries, which are getting really happy here. You can hear them fell a little bit. You can hear them starting to split, which is good. That's just going to sit there for a little bit. Oops, there's the milk. Now, the other thing that I have that you probably don't have is a 60-pound dog sitting here laying in the middle of the kitchen as I try to walk around the kitchen and attempting to be, you know, she never moves. She will look at you and go, well, why are you trying to get rid of me? Exactly, Time. Always use heated milk for your porridges. And if you're making a porridge or a polenta with milk or anything like that, that is a time to use a stove because you want more precise heating. All right, so we've got our milk. And into our milk, we are going to bloom our we're going to bloom our yeast in our milk. Warm milk, fresh yeast, and then of course the thing that people forget, the sugar to activate the yeast, which is a thing that a lot of people forget. I'm going to get this bowl. I forgot to get the bowl out earlier, and now all I am is a disembodied voice that you can hear. But you will see me in a minute as I come around with the single best investment we have ever made in KitchenAid stand mixer, people. A KitchenAid stand mixer is by no means inexpensive. It is not cheap. It is, however, worth all of the money they've ever told you about it. Yeah. So Morris says, I have instead of a 60-pound dog, I have a 9-pound cat who insists on trying to trip me. Although now she has chosen a new spot on the side of the kitchen that she watches from. She finds supervising the cooking to be compulsory. I mean, that's kind of what Bella's doing. Bella is supervising. She's just supervising in a manner that is directly in the path I need to walk. Because this is, you know, how life works. All right, so we add our warmed coconut milk. And here's the thing. If you get unflavored nut milk, at this level, no one will be able to tell at the end when you bake it. We add our yeast. Oh, the cat's name is also Bella? That's great. So we have two Bellas, both of whom, I think it's just the name, right? Because in Italian, Bella means, well, Bella, beautiful girl, center of attention. Okay, now we're gonna take that off the heat. And we're gonna just add a little liquid to my cranberries. This is gonna sound really silly. Some people like to do putting the extra water in early. I don't. I like to put it in after they've exploded. So it gives, you can start picking up all of the juices that are there, all the extra liquid. Plus it helps you determine, because I am using alcohol in addition to the cranberries. Because I'm using alcohol in addition to the cranberries. The water and volume of liquid is different. So because of that, oh yeah, Morris. This is my very Sicilian kitchen. If you know my real, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, no, my actual name is not in any way, shape, or form Italian. It is Deirdre, which is very Irish, because my father's family is from Ireland, my mother's family is from Sicily. It's a great balance of the two best things in the world. I get really good alcohol from the Irish side and chattiness, and then from the Italians I get the cooking, the appreciation for fine wines, and the ability to take no shit from anyone ever. But yes. So one of the other things, as we're doing this, and I'm talking to you, one of the other things that a lot of people forget when they start blooming their yeast is to add sugar to their yeast bloom. And if you're blooming in water or in milk, doesn't matter. You're gonna need sugar to get that yeast all nice and happy. Not a lot, just a little. And then you just give it a little bit of a stir. And let that sit over here while it blooms. Because my next step is going to be to start zesting oranges. Isn't that fun? Everybody should love to zest an orange, right? You know, it's a skill. It's appreciated. Classic fashion, me. Yeah, this is almost ready to go through that sieve, but it can just sit and finish being happy for a little bit while I check on things. Crit says, and I'm pretty sure both give you the innate ability to use ladle, pan, pot with a deadly and lethal effect. Look, I want you to know that I am currently playing in a home game of Mage, where my character, we're doing Mage the Awakening, and my character is being, you know, we're all being attacked by this creepy thing that we don't know anything about. So what is the default response when something breaks into your apartment and you're a Italian woman who lives alone? You have a cast iron skillet sitting on the stove. It's not currently here because I'm going to need the stove space, so I moved it out of the way. But you have a cast iron skillet sitting there against the stove, and I guarantee you, a 12-inch cast iron skillet to the face will most likely end any conversation that somebody is going to have with you that's not pleasant. You know? But we have an orange. A very nice orange. They're actually really nice. Oranges are, oranges are good. All right, we're gonna actually melt our butter first because we can do that. Got it, cast iron is, no. The chancla is an entirely different thing. The cast iron skillet is a self-defense option. The chancla is not a self-defense option. That's what all these people who talk about chocolate, I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, but this is scarier. Inherently. Just saying. Jim says, once played a video game where you could pick up a frying pan and use it as a weapon. It made a very satisfying sound when you hit enemies with it. Yes, exactly. You can hit things with it. And if you're not sure that a cast iron skillet is a weapon, let me show you. So this is an 8-inch cast iron skillet. You can see it's got a little, can you see that little 8 that's written in there? This was my grandmother's. And it's got just enough grip that I can hold it with one hand, but it weighs about 7 pounds. This, to the face, is gonna wreck somebody's day. Even more so when you've left it on the stove, and the assumption is, well, in most Sicilian kitchens up until, you know, pre-21st century, you had if you had a gas stove, you had a pilot light, right? And with a gas stove, an oven that had a pilot light, there was always that one burner that was above the pilot light that was warmer, and that's where you left your cast iron skillet. So not only is it a large cast iron skillet, it's, what is the word I'm looking for? Hot to the face. Hot cast iron skillet to the face. Guaranteed to have no problem. What? This is nothing. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the cranberry because that's getting to a point where it's done. I'm going to check on the butter that we're melting. It's going to go in. Needs a couple more minutes. Literally a couple more seconds actually. But yeah, you're gonna do a lot of things. Oh, no. There's not a chain. I mean, that's a camping oven. And you only use those outside. If I want a cast iron Dutch oven, which we're going to use later, actually. We're going to use this Dutch oven to make our chili in, which we should actually get things going. Move the chili over there. All right. That's there. Hello. Oh, thank you for that one, Jim. I will appreciate that. My players might not, but I will. All right. Now, I'm going to get my zester. Ah, here it is, microplaner. Go there. This is very useful. As you can see, it's a microplaner. It's got groove slot on the inside. This is designed to zest your things. It is a great enamel, isn't it? I will acknowledge that this is older than I am. My parents got that as a wedding present, as a wedding shower present. You gotta rig it for the swing. This is true. All right, so zesting is always complicated. You don't want to get to the white, so it should only look like that, right, when you're zesting. If you've gotten to the white portion on the fruit in the peel, you've zested too much, and that's just pith, and it's not going to taste good. But this is another trick I've learned. I don't know how scientific this is. This next statement is anecdotal. I have theory about it, but it's all anecdotal. If you want more flavorful zest from whichever citrus fruit you are zesting, lemon, lime, orange, whatever, get one that's just almost overripe. You know, just at overripe, and it has a little bit more, it's been my experience, it has more oil in it, which means it's going to give you more flavor for the amount of zest you pull. And it seems, in my experience, to also therefore be just better. Plus then you're gonna eat it, right? Well, I mean, chemical ripening, and you buy local and all of that stuff, but you also can do the other trick, which is, you know, buy the ugly vegetables in your grocery store, right? The quote-unquote ugly vegetables. The vegetables that are, you know, that they're going to have to get rid of the next day. That will all be useful for this step. If you see the white part you've zested too close to the sun, I mean, yeah, all it's gonna do is add bitterness. It's not gonna add any flavor. Jim, you're redeeming to help the orange. Well, the orange, I mean, are you redeeming to help me zest the orange? For those of you who may have joined us from Fawn's chat, from Jess's chat, I play TTRPGs with my friends on Saturdays and Sundays recently, and I have a system of using channel points to give boons to my players, you know, a reroll or an extra luck point, which can be very useful in some games. But if you activate them well, I have one of my streams that isn't a TTRPG stream, I, the GM, get those benefits. And I just feel that that's fair, right? That's fair. So now we're up to 4 that I get to use this weekend. Alright, so we've got our butter, it's melted. We've got our orange zest. You can see it's really dark and orange, but you also see it's got a lot of oil in it. That's good, because that's going to give you lots of flavor, which is what you want for this. Yes, I did. I was very excitedly giving it... Oh, you're giving it, the orange a reroll on its taste factor? I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Well, poo. I mildly messed up a little bit, but that's okay. I can fix it. That's the other great thing about cooking. You can fix it. All right. Orange, yeah, and keep it away from the open flame. Orange oil is very flammable, which is why right now there isn't an open flame. The only flame that we had was under the cranberry, and that had, instead of orange zest. But it's gonna give a nice richness of flavor. Basically, I'm taking my cranberry sauce recipe that I make for Thanksgiving and Christmas and adapting it for a filling for sweet rolls. That tells you a lot about me. Yeah. All right. I need a bowl. Because I'm about to do something interesting. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, where am I? Where am I on this recipe? I do also use recipes. Okay, 3/4 of a cup of sugar. This is going to be basically because it wanted you to bloom the yeast separately and do all of that. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to bloom the yeast in the thing that I need it for. Oh, less tea is pressed. Jim attests he acts best with the zest. This is why, Time, you are a great person and we really appreciate you around here. Now, remember how I said measurements are The exception to that is baking. You should use close to exact measurements. I mean, you should use exact measurements when you're baking. Because, you know, cooking is easy, baking is chemistry. Notice how I said that way. All right, so now you can see my little setup here. We've got the sugar, and I use a Dixie Crystal cane sugar that's not been bleached or purified, so it's a little healthier. It still tastes the same, it still cooks the same, it doesn't change anything. The only difference is it's not white. Got our orange zest, we've got some melted butter, we've got Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, unflavored. Got the rest of our milk, and we gotta have an egg in a minute. Oh, thank you for that sub, Hawkeye. We appreciate you. How are you doing? How's life going for you? Thank you for that. 25 months. Wow, we've been going for a while, haven't we, at this? All right, now, because I didn't do this over there, I have to do this by hand. Not all whisks are made the same. You need to have good whisks. Good whisks are good whisks. Good. Okay. So, we've got our butter into our sugar. Basically, we were creaming the butter and sugar separately from the blooming yeast so that you don't kill it. Remembering, of course, for the purposes of baking, sugar is a wet ingredient, not a dry ingredient. Sorry you had to work such a long day, Hawkeye. But, so, now we've got that well incorporated. Sugar, butter. We're going to take advantage of one of my favorite utensils that I splurged on the 3 set at Williams-Sonoma a few years. This is called a spoonula. See, it's got a curve, it's a little indent like a spoon, but it's got the sharp edges like a spatula, and it's silicone, so it works really well. But it is the greatest thing for something like adding orange zest to this bowl, because it's going to get everything in there that I want. All of it out there. There we go. And it makes it easy to clean up. Only 90 more minutes? Oof, I'm sorry you're still there. I'm sorry you're still there. The other ingredient in this recipe is, again, Greek yogurt. It's going to add a little thickness and tanginess, and one of the things you need to remember is that flavors are balances, right? You always want to balance your flavors. And so sweetness, sour, tanginess, acidity, all of these balancing of flavors is going to give you the dish that you want. Now, the other thing that the Greek yogurt is going to do is, just like sour cream, it's going to add some creaminess and richness to our dough in general. but it's going to be a little healthier than just sour cream. Oh, it's work from home. Bonnie is making dinner. So what is your charming lady wife making you for dinner tonight, Hawkeye? As we sit here and I make sweet rolls, and I'm going to start the, once we get the dough started, because it's going to have to rise, we're going to have to do all of that. So, first things first, yeah, I'll move it over here. I'll move it over here so you can see this more. I'll move this out of the way. Now, we have our yeast is bloomed. You can see all that bubbly goodness in it. It's all doubled in size. If you smell it, it smells so yeasty and yummy, like bread or, you know, beer. Either one of those things is going to work. But the reason we use a stand mixer is because it makes our life easier. Could we do this by hand? Yes. Do I want to? No. I have a dough hook for a reason, people. If you don't have the tool, you do what you need to do. But if you happen to have access to this particular tool, there is no shame in using a tool to do things to make life easier. I would like to reiterate that statement again. Using a tool to make your life easier is not a bad thing. Using a unitasker is not good. Unless it's a very specific thing that you need. Like a fire extinguisher. But, oops, almost walked away. Almost did the bad. But, we've got sugar, butter. Ooh, almost forgot the last ingredient in there. Thanks, guys. I'm having a day here. It's Friday night, right? It's Friday night. And we're feeling all right. Where my daughter has chicken in the oven, and I think mac and cheese is also on the menu. Ooh, that sounds good. Oh yeah, that's right. Bonnie is your daughter. I am so sorry. I confused the two. That is my bad. I should remember this thing. Also, I'm going to teach you a trick that I learned after. So if you watched my previous test stream when I did this on the mobile and didn't use the computer to do this, I talked about a book called La Technique by Jacques Pepin, which is basically an instruction manual for how to do the tasks in a kitchen. It shows you a step-by-step of what it looks like to truss a chicken. It shows you a step-by-step of what it looks like to julienne vegetables or anything. Yeah, she doesn't want an internet presence. That was my screw up. I totally remember. Thank you for that follow, Maris. Welcome in. We hope you enjoy. Enjoy the Sam Elliott welcome. So yes, if you remember, there's this book called La Technique. It's by Jacques Pepin. Get it. It's expensive because it's like basically an instruction manual, but it's so great. But most of it is pictures, step-by-step pictures of what each of these steps of actions in the cooking, in the kitchen, are supposed to look like. So if you've never, yes, it is a blank for dummies in the kitchen. No, don't worry. It's the auto mod. I have the auto mod set so high for reasons, but don't worry. So one of the things is so many people crack the egg on the side of a dish. Don't do this, because then it's going to put the shell of the egg inside the egg that you're going to be eating, and that's how you get the salmonella that's on the outside of the egg into your food. Instead, you crack the egg, you take the egg like this in your hand. See, you're holding it on 3 sides, and then you're going to push, just going to crack straight down onto the a flat surface, the countertop basically. And then it will just separate neatly into 2 pieces without getting eggshell into your egg. It also is much easier to clean up. It's less stress, it's less fighting, it's faster. But yes, the Jacques Pepin book, get it. It's available on Barnes & Noble. I mean, it's a step-by-step with pictures for each step. You know, I mean, that in and of itself, it's a great tool for that. So now that I've remembered to put the egg that is necessary for an enriched dough in with our wet ingredients, we are going to take our bowl of yeasty wonderfulness, all the yeast. I'm going to move this bowl out of the way for a second. Come back here with regular flour, all-purpose flour. You do not want to use a sweet roll, you do not want to use bread flour for a sweet roll. Or if you do, only half of it. Now, some people say you should sift your flour. For anything going in sauces, yes. For, it's gonna be a mess, people. Its flour is gonna get everywhere. For anything like this, it's not 100% necessary because you're gonna beat it all together anyways, and it's not gonna have a problem. Oh, it's like you have to hold it with your finger across the top, your thumb on the outside directly parallel to your finger, so that they're not, I've done the problem. The Jacques Pepin book gives you an entire breakdown of how it works and where you're supposed to put your hand and all of this stuff to make life easier. Also, another great tool when you get your KitchenAid, this is a splatter guard for when you are, you know, baking and you have flour and you're going to turn it on. So you don't get flour going everywhere. You don't want that. Now we add in our half of our, we're going to alternate, so it's going to be a little bit step by step here, people. Take off the splatter shield, take up the hook for a minute, take our half of our wet ingredients into our bowl so that it can start enriching our dough, which this kind of enriched dough I will do. There are some things I don't do, which is, you know, I don't make croissant. I don't make croissant and I don't make phyllo. There are little old ladies who do that, who will spend hours doing that, not me. Add our third cup of flour. And then let that go. Remembering to put your splatter guard back on. But we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're going to be a little late getting to Trooper, but Trooper's never on time anyways, so we'll at least have dinner ready. We're almost there. Now we put in our second half of wet. ingredients into our bowl. And it's so much easier with this spatula to actually get things right because it cleans the bowl so much better of everything I need, right? All right, so that's that step done. Another great tip, wash as you go, people. Even if you just move things all into the sink and then at a certain point you're gonna stop and empty the sink and then continue, shh. You can hear Bella now. And I need to get the flour so I can, oh, over here. All right, I'm gonna let you out, all right? I'll let you out, you can go run. Have fun running, baby. Go terrorize the neighbors. I can do that. I can let my dog go run in my front yard, in my backyard, because we have an invisible fence and I'm not gonna let the dog run all over and terrorize the street. But because we have the invisible fence, if she wants to, you know, if I'm busy doing something, I can just open the door and let her go run. Which is what I did. And this is entirely acceptable because, you know, I'm being secure and taking care of my animal and not being a crazy person. But I was like, I knew we were going to be short a little. I thought we would be able to get all of it started. Get all of it in there. Why am I trying to make this pretty? It's all going in the plastic container anyways. I shouldn't even have to try and fight with this. Where did I just put the scissors? Over here. You know? But how's everybody else's night going? How are we doing? Are we having fun? Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a mess, but you know, I've done worse. And it cleans up. That's the other thing. Like I said this the other night, but one of the things that gets to me is that all those all-white kitchens, I'm just gonna tilt this just a little bit so I can stand over here and you can see me as I do this. All those all-white kitchens, the worst part about them is this. You know, none of those people actually cook because it's all too clean. It's too pristine, right? There is no way anybody who says they can cook and not make a mess isn't actually cooking. They're calling someone to do it for them. Oh, you recorded a heavy session of that mage game? Which are you playing, Ascension or Awakening? Out of curiosity, Anna Geek. Yes, I will stand by that statement. You heard me. I said it. I said if you don't care, you know. You know, I said it. I stand by it. If you ain't making a mess, you ain't doing it right. Exactly. And if you don't know that you can't, you know, if like all those parents who are like, how could you do this? It's a whole mess in my kitchen. I'm like, I made a different delicious meal. I'll clean it up later. Move on. I'm going to move this out of the way because I don't need it anymore. I am going to leave the rest of this flour that's in here just enough for me later to roll out the sweet roll. But that's going to sit there. I'm going to let the electric mixer do my kneading at the moment. I'm going to clean up a little because we're going to shift, well, that's getting started, into the main course, which is great because I think it's one of the most important things. Don't come at me, Bob. All right. Let that go. All right, let's move these out of the way for right now. Move those into the, let me move these out of the way. And now we get to take a quick second and clean off our work surface so we get rid of the extra flour. It's like a perfectly clean workbench. It's either new or you've never been used. Exactly. Exactly. If it has, you know, it's why, you know, certain things you don't need, you don't want to worry about, like all white kitchens. Not something I ever need and or desire. All right. Now, we get to start making, oops, sorry, that wasn't supposed to screech like that. Now we get to start making dinner, which leads to the cast iron skillet. Or not skillet, that's not a skillet. Prax, that is a Dutch oven. Also cast iron, enameled cast iron, and it is actually Real Le Creuset. If you can afford Real Le Creuset, get it. Best thing, most important, you know, get Real Le Creuset. You will invest in it for a lifetime. It is expensive, but it is worth it. And as evidenced by a severe fire that occurred in Texas in a strip mall, like the only thing left of this entire strip mall, you know, the strip mall, you know, the kitchen store burned, and the only thing left that was salvageable were the Le Creuset sets that looked almost brand new. They were just a little bit soot, and that was mostly from the fire department cleaning it up. And I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That tracks. So, this is my North African adapted spicy lamb chili. So earlier I said that I can't eat cow anymore. I can't have cow's milk, I can't have beef, I can't have cow's milk cheeses. It's a sad day for me, but I can't do it. It's an allergy, whatever. Which means I needed to adapt a lot of things that I can eat. I can eat lamb, yay, and lots of poultry, also good. So I was looking into different ways in which you could make a chili or like a hearty stew, and I found this really great North Moroccan style lamb chili that I've adapted both for my flavor profile and flavor palette, what I like to eat, and for just ease of cooking in a more, without a lot of the, you know, like I don't have a tagine, I don't have a lot of the particular North African cooking utensils, which is fine. So this is an adapted, quote-unquote, North African. I do not make any claim of any particular culture on this. I'm just using certain flavor profiles that work really well, and I think it tastes very good. So, we're going to start drippy. With ground lamb. Most grocery stores, yes indeed, welcome in, Vice Bunny. We are doing cooking with Prax. Most grocery stores these days, at least in an urban environment, you can find ground lamb. It is usually pretty good. It's not, unlike, you can't make the rule about 80-20. It doesn't have that same thing. It only comes like one set. It's fine. But what that also means is that it's a little more expensive than other ground meats, but not prohibitively so, right? Like when it's on sale, and I buy it on sale, the 1 pound package of ground lamb is like $7.99, $8.99, depending which store you go to. And the ground beef, for a 1 pound package, if it's not on sale, is also $7 or $8.99. So, you know, it's not entirely beyond everything. All right, so I'm gonna shift this over here for a minute because our dough has just finished doing what I want it to do, and that means I need to get it ready to go in a bowl so it can rise while we make the chili. And that's what we really want. We want to make the bowl, make it in chili. Yeah, you can find it in Kroger. You can probably find it in Publix. I know that. I know if you choose to shop at Whole Paycheck, it's there. But a lot of like local butchers carry it. If you go to a lot of like, if you live in an area where you can go to like a halal butcher, yes, we are cooking McFlanagan. Welcome in. If you can go to somewhere that has a halal butcher, that also usually has ground lamb. I have even seen ground lamb at Aldi on occasion. Look, tell me I'm wrong, Annie Geek. Tell me I'm wrong that shopping there is not shopping in Whole Paycheck. Is not dropping your whole paycheck just for dinner. Well, I'm glad you think so, McFlanagan. I'm glad you think so. My goal is to make it even better, but I'm glad we have a place to start. As you can see, it's got some really good, this is gonna be a mess. Oh, I didn't take the ring off. Oh well, I can take the ring off before I get even more messy. All right, let me take my rings off. Yeah, I mean, you have to be careful about things and when they're going to be expiring and paying attention to stuff like that. You're right. It does, I'll make sure I take the rings off because, you know, you cook with your hands. Also, keep a ring jewelry holder in your kitchen so that when you take your rings off or your jewelry off to cook with, when you're cooking, you just leave them there. Now, where did I put that? Oh, flour. Oh, over here. I put the flour over here, Deirdre, so you remember where you put it. What does that tell you about me? Okay. So, I use a silk pat when I'm doing anything with baking. It makes my life easier. A little flour on the silk pat to make life even easier as we're going to turn out this dough. And we have the bigger spatula with which to turn out this, you can see, very nice, very, oh, I can smell all that orange in there. It smells divine. Dough. you want to get as much of that dough out of that bowl as possible so that you can use every little bit of it. And that's why this spatula works so great, because it really does get so much more than just a normal spatula, at least in my experience, and it's so much easier to work with. It covers both the ability of scraping of a spatula, but with the ability to hold of a spoon. So how much do you have to spend for shipping for one of these rolls? I mean, I'm sorry, but I cannot guarantee that because, well, I don't know anything about Thanksgiving. Oh, Canadian Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't live in the up there, McFlagon. I live in Connecticut, outside New York. Flour your hands. You got this yeasty boy of dough that's going to be a big old mess. Take a second. Flour your hands as well as your surface. It will make life a lot easier. And this is kneading dough into a ball is by no means neat. It will never be neat. If you try and make it neat, you're doing something wrong. Now I know people who use palette scrapers and they're like, we can keep it all clean, and I'm like, that's great. You do you. You do you, and I'll just make sure I incorporate all the flour that's on my surface into my dough, and then I know it's done. And if I need to, I can just add extra flour to my hands. I don't know if I care enough about leftovers, but you really are selling me on this spoon. I mean, it's silly, and it's like, okay, yeah, you're like, okay, what do you mean? Why should why does like a kitchen utensil make you so happy? It's because when you find a tool that does the job and does the job consistently well, you don't want to get rid of it and you want to share the joy with everybody else. I mean, I do the same thing when bamboo wooden spatula. My favorite thing. I'm going to use it in a minute when it gets the chili started. Luckily, this is a really quick recipe for chili because we're going to be late. That's okay. If you open a tab and keep Trooper open later, then I'll understand, but we're going to raid into him in a bit. All right. Now, you just want to work this until all of the flour kind of comes together. And if it's still too sticky, you need to add a little more flour on your surface and again on your hands. Make sure that you flour your hands again. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad I can be a good teacher. I'm glad that people think I'm a good teacher. Now, I'm also being very gentle in kneading this dough. I'm not doing like a really heavy knead until I start getting things going. In which case, your hands will get sticky. An enriched dough is always more sticky. And I can't turn the camera at the moment because my hand is covered in stickiness. Look, I got excited about those things well before I turned 30, Annie Geek. Oh, and here comes the dog. She wants back in. And she timed that almost perfectly so that I could almost got it. Just a little more flour. Time, thank you, Time. Thank you for all of those gift subs that you just kindly donated to everyone as I make a bigger mess in my kitchen. All right, we've got this dough. Nice and set up. So it's going to be in a minute. And I'm going to move this ball of dough that's very nice. And now give me 2 seconds, I'll be right back. And I need to get, because I had opened the door for the puppy, because she's important. As we say, you know, the dog is more important than me sometimes. All right, Bella, have a treat. And by treat, I mean a Tostito. All right, bowl. Now, resting your dough is important. Have a good one. Crit, we'll see you. We'll be here if you choose to come back. We will, or can come back later. Look, I'm gonna cheat. There's no shame in cheating. You want to oil the bowl that you are putting the dough into. Then you want to take the dough, spinning around in your hands from underneath it, and let it sit. And then it says you should roll the dough to oil on all sides. Just spray it. Just spray it. The dough is happy. Let it sit and be happy. You know, if you know, you can just spray the top. If you can take the time to spray the entire round side of the bowl and then to oil the bowl, then you can take just as much time to spray the top of the dough. Bella, move out of the... I apparently dropped some little pieces of dough on the floor. She's not gonna get out of the way. I need to get into the drawer that she's in front of, but she, thank you, dog. And apparently I don't. Where did I put that? Oh, I took it out already. Plastic wrap. And the dog is happy. Yes. Would you like to see the pupper? I can show you puppy. I can show you puppy. Okay. Bella, Bella. Hi, smile for the internet. Okay, well, that's as much of the pupper as you're gonna get for this second. The floor has the best food. I mean, unless she decides to look up and I happen to, and she wants me to drop something, then she's like, well, you have the best food because the counter has the best food. Yes, she is 60 pounds and she is 15 years old. And sometimes she definitely pulls a, well, I can't hear you, I'm just old. All right, plastic wrap over our bowl, set aside. And we let that rise. And now I'm gonna take 2 seconds to clean my surface again so that I can be a little bit neater, right? Like I pretend to be neat. Okay. But at the same time, I do have a dog that will walk around, and a 15-year-old full-size dog, yeah, she's a granny. She's an old lady. I'm not gonna clean that silk pat yet because we're gonna use it when I'm gonna just brush it off and roll out on it later when I make these rolls. What do we got? What were we saying? All dogs have selective hearing. I mean, this is true. This is true. True statement. All right. Cast iron skillet. Keep calling it that. Dutch oven. Enameled Dutch oven. Le Creuset. Very happy. We have 1 pound of ground beef. Or ground lamb. Why am I so confused tonight, people? I haven't know what it is? We need to have a thing. Have a good one, Jim. Enjoy. a little oil on the bottom of the pan. Get that started heating by turning on the correct burner. And then look, remember how I said this is a North African? I mean, no, it actually, it has the texture of ground beef. Lamb is actually closer to beef, not pork. It tastes like lamb. It's meat. It's a really nice, it's a little earthier than beef, or at least what you get of beef in most supermarkets in the United States, unless you're going for like a grass-fed, uber space, really expensive ground beef. Where are my thingies? Oh, here it is. Duh. All right, this is technically a risotto spoon. See, it's got a little hole in it. That's so that when you cut through the risotto and you stir it to thicken it slowly, which is the way you do it. But it also acts really good, I found, for breaking up ground beef. Look, I'm not gonna lie. Costco carries lamb, and it's really inexpensive. Like, they have these, they're mini T-bone lamb chops. They're about this thick, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick, and they're about, 3-4 inches long. And they come in a package of 8, and they're usually between about $6 and $7.99 a pound. Take those home, separate them out. You're happy. All right. So our oil is hot. We're going to do 2 things. Number 1, we're going to open the harissa. Oh, I love harissa. Harissa is a North African chili paste. Basically, it's got other things in it. It's, red peppers, chili peppers, garlic, olive oil, vinegar, salt. It's wonderful. And I'm going to add two big heat tablespoons of harissa to the hot oil. Let that go for a minute. To get it nice and flavored, and you can start to smell it in the air. You always want to flavor your oil, right? You want to add your garlic and your onions and all of those flavor builds to your oil before you put something like your meats in or anything else. Because that's where it's going to take those flavors really quickly, and then it's going to add them to whatever you make. So now we've got the harissa in the oil. I use a couple tablespoons, a couple soup spoons, whatever. I eyeball it based on how spicy I like it. I like it a little spicy, but not overwhelming, which is why I like a lot of very easy, less mess. All right. And then you're just gonna break up the lamb into that olive oil and harissa mixture. We're just gonna brown up this lamb real good. Toss it around with the harissa and oil, let that get going. How we doing? How we feeling? All right, well, I'm gonna take a couple seconds, and actually you can watch me as I turn this. Walk over. walk over here, and still not on camera. Walk over here and do a little cleanup to, you know, get things going so I can still see chat and get you guys, listening to you guys. How are we doing? Because like I said, you want to take points in your cooking. You want to make sure you build in steps in your cooking to clean up as you go. So, you know, I can do a little cleanup from, get that out of the way. Oh, there we go. I can start to smelling the, I am glad, I will thank you for that comparison, McFlanagan. I don't claim to be a professional. I do enjoy cooking and I enjoy teaching other people to cook. It's been a thing I've really enjoyed a lot for a long period of time. And one of the things before I went back to go to law school, I taught high school for 7 years. And one of the things I made sure to do is also teach all of my students how to, you know, we would have a big event, and then like my seniors and were in my classes for 4 years, I would teach them basic cooking before they went to, you know, a basic recipe before you went to college and had no idea what you're doing. Look, if I can have that set up and I can afford to get those pieces, Anna Geek, I would do it. Thank you, McFly. Congrats. What kind of baking are you doing, out of curiosity, you know? Are you doing sweet pastry baking or bread baking or... All right. So now, once you get this almost all browned, and I can't take it off the heat yet to show you, I'm gonna add 1 more tablespoon of harissa to get just the right balance, a little extra heat, right? A little extra heat. It don't hurt no one. Well, it might if you don't like heat or spice. Ooh, desserts and pastries, very nice. Ice Bunny, if you're that desperate, I understand. I understand that people, that might be financial choices, but I can buy a jar of tomato sauce just as inexpensively as I can ketchup. Just saying. I might judge a little on that one. What kind of desserts are you making? Okay. All right. So, we are going to need to quickly empty the dishwasher as we go. From torts to torts. That's a good one, Time. That's a good one. For those of you who don't know, TORTS is torts, as in the tort law, which is the basis for civil litigation in pretty much every English-speaking country. Oh, Anna Geek's working at the, well, sorry. I mean, limited cooking abilities. That's why I always taught my students a basic recipe. They'd be like, look, here are some basics. Here's how to boil water for pasta. Here's how to make rice so you don't burn the rice or don't cook it at all. Which, you know, is always a problem. I still remember the, I think it was Throwdown with Bobby Flay, and he was making a rice dish, and like he was competing with somebody, you know, an Asian, local Asian place, and he burnt the rice because he tried to make it fancy. Cakes, cupcakes, millefeuille. Oh, much better person than I am. I do not do millefeuille. I'm good. It's the same reason I don't do croissant. I do not need to do that kind of labor. You are a much better person than I am, McLanigan. Oh yeah, it's a trademarks case. I had to read it. It's a reverse, it's what we call a reverse confusion case. Alright, so now we've got our lamb really good and browned. We browned the lamb. This recipe does not call for boiled lamb. That's a different recipe. No, now that you've got this lamb good and browned, we get our next couple of ingredients, which are the aforementioned jar of tomato sauce, which I bought at the store for 69 cents. Yeah, it's versus the nationwide trademarks. It's a very famous trademark case. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to law school. And I'm going to law school particularly for IP, which is trademarks, copyrights, and patents. I did have to read that case. Really interesting that you are involved in that, Annie Geek. I did not know that. Can opener. Now, again, if you need to use a hand can opener, go ahead. If you choose to use an electric, that's not a problem either. Yeah, IP stands for intellectual. Sorry, I'm not on the camera. IP stands for intellectual property, copyrights, patents, trademarks. Fun fact. Do you know why all of those food blogs that you see, recipe blogs, are like covered in like 50 pages of, discussion about this woman's family and how much her children or grandmother or whatever is going on in her life? It is because a recipe cannot be copyrighted. The actual recipe itself can't be copyrighted. Everything that goes attached to it, all of the other gobbledygook that gets put on that blog can be. So if the recipe is integrated into that blog, then it can be copyrighted, it can be part of the copyright, but the recipe itself can't be. Fun facts. So, tomato sauce, jar of tomatoes, and then because, we've mentioned this before that I'm Sicilian, so other people might judge, but I don't. This thing called cooking with wine. Just add a little, the end of the bottle. Why measure these things? You're not going to measure it. It's just there to add a little flavor, a little depth of flavor. All right, where's my thing to stir? Stir to incorporate. Stir to incorporate. And then turn down the heat. And because I don't like beans in my chili, I'm just gonna find my lid to this pot. Here it is. And cover that. Now it's happy. Now it's just gonna sit there. See, I thought about the wine in the glass as we currently wait for the chili to continue cooking and the sweet rolls to continue rising. I decided that's one option. Option number 2, however, is a more adult beverage. Well, a different type of adult beverage. We're doing cranberry raisin. Not cranberry raisin. We're doing cranberry orange sweet rolls I feel like a cranberry margarita is on point. But I'm gonna take a short break, 5-10 minutes. You guys stretch, refresh, we'll be back. I'm gonna make a cocktail. We'll have some cocktails. I don't claim to be as full cocktail power as Brian Urban Bohemian is, but I think this will be one that people like, hopefully. So I will often wonder what the vintner buys, one half so precious of the gift he sells. I mean, it's true. That's true. But we'll be back about 5-10 minutes. See you in a little bit, everybody. All right, we are back. We are here. We are doing okay. How we doing? How's life going for you? Did you stretch, bio, do all that good stuff? Refresh? I took the opportunity to empty the dishwasher and reload it from all the stuff from making the sweet rolls. Mostly. There's still a big bowl over there that I gotta put away. And we're back. Just keep working, just keep working. Well, I need a little mangiare. Antipasto. So this beautiful thing is what we call is a smoked goat cheese. And smoked cheese is a really big traditional Italian thing. You get smoked mozzarella all the time, smoked provolone. I know that you can get a smoked Gouda. But I can't eat most of those because, again, all cow's milk and I can't have that. But this is goat's milk and I can have that. I can have that. It's yummyful. Smoked cheeses are some of the best things you will ever find. Also very good for snacking because they are, you know, relatively low fat. If you only take a little, not all of the whole thing. And, but lots of protein, very low sugar. So cut just a couple pieces off for me to snack on while we finish dinner. So it is now cocktail time. Or as my grandmother used to say, it's that time. You know, at the end of the day, it's that time. I've seen smoked Havarti, but usually it's in like a higher end, like a cheese specialty store. You don't usually find it in just the supermarket, but you might find it in a cheese specialty store. Or an Italian deli, which just gives you all the cheeses you could possibly think of. All right, cocktail time. 1 cocktail shaker. Some ice. Sorry. Some ice in that cocktail shaker. I'll just do it like this. Ice in the cocktail shaker. Then we have tequila and triple sec, and my favorite part of this, because it's October and it's fall, cranberry juice. So there we go. Sometimes it just sticks a little, right? Hell, yes, Fawn, it is cocktail time. We're going to make ourselves a cranberry margarita. Cranberry juice. Always use 100% juice. Now, mind you, 100% cranberry juice is really expensive, but if you get 100% juice, it's even better. Tequila. I'm not going to tell you how much alcohol to put in your margarita. That's on you. Annie says, I wish I had some apple cider right now. It'd make a good cocktail. I mean, yes, apple cider. You can make an apple cider white Russian. It's supposed to be very good. Triple sec. Just a dash. Don't want too much orange in this cranberry. Good appletini. I don't like appletinis really. And just to make it a little more fun, because it's a cocktail, key lime juice. Not just regular lime juice, but Key West lime juice. Key lime. A little bit. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn this again because I don't use the shaker. I use the shaker over the sink, people. It is easy to do. It takes 2 steps. means if anything explodes, it doesn't do so all over the rest of your kitchen. It's a lot easier to clean up the inside of your sink than the rest of your kitchen if you explode a cocktail all over it. This way. These out of my way. Like, this is the point that I wish we had invented smell-vision. Smell television. Like, so we could send smells across the... Because you can smell the lamb, the meatiness of the lamb, and then the harissa, which is that chilies and garlic and a little bit of cumin and coriander. Just a little bit of flavor there. But I also have, where did I put it? Oh, I put it right here. These are really great. Metal lined, easy to carry, easy to hold. They come with a lid. This particular one, as we go and get the other one, came from Shakespeare on the Sound. We got to go to Shakespeare on the Sound as one of the with people that we knew who were donors. So we got this swag bag of like picnic stuff. Shakespeare on the Sound, by the way, is like the local version of Shakespeare in the Park. I mean, I might do the Ace Attorney games eventually, but I don't have a Nintendo system, and I don't have a Stream Deck or a capture card, so I can't do anything on a platform. Like, I can't do anything on I have a PlayStation. I can't do anything to stream off of that. So now cocktails. Cheers, everyone. Console. Thank you, Fawn. See, Jess understands me. I had words. That's perfect. Just a little sweetness from the cranberry, but it's cranberry, so it's still a little tart. And tequila and lime, and your life is good. A little cheese. But we're checking on our lamb. Smelling really good. It's almost there. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Again. Almost there. Just a couple more minutes. So what are other people having for dinner? As I get a vessel with which I'm now going to strain our cooled cranberry. I need the strainer though. Strainer over a Pyrex. Doesn't quite fit level, but you manipulate it so it works. And then, because I'm going to push all this cranberry, don't want to do too much at a start, but Hostess cream cheese Danish and a root beer. I mean, sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes that's exactly what you need. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there have been nights when it's like, I just want M&Ms and whatever leftover wine is in the fridge, or maybe a Coke. Or Girl Scout cookies. You know, I'm not gonna lie, there have been nights when it's like, I just want these Girl Scout cookies. As I strain these cranberry jelly, really. I mean, it effectively is a cranberry jelly without, because cranberries become so easy to jelly because they have such a high pectin content. Look at that. Look how pretty those are looking. No, Anna Geek. Oh, not Anna Geek. Ice Bunny. No, this is not a cream cheese filling, although it could be. You could use this as a cream cheese filling. This is actually going to be a filling for a sweet roll. You can see it's already coming out really nice. The shift is almost done, your battery is almost dead. I mean, that's a good way to measure it, if that's how it needs to work. Okay. Do not use cast iron for making jellies, by the way. That cast iron works really well for a lot of things, but you really want a more non-stick surface that has a better spread of heat than as I mesh this through a wire sieve. I mean, you could put it on a Danish too. I mean, you could use this on pretty much anything. But right now, it's really going to go into the, it's going to be the filling for our sweet rolls. Basically, our cinnamon buns, instead of cinnamon, we're doing cranberry orange. Tiny spatula makes life so much easier. Also, so that is, what is that? That's 200 milliliters, just under a cup of filling so far. And I still got some more to sift through here. The earbuds I got pulled. Oh, mine, like, I have these, my Bose. They were a Christmas present, I'm not gonna lie. That's the only reason I have them. My Bose Sport. They will last a full Witcher stream. 5 hours, 6 hours. Beautiful sound on them. Okay. That seems to be as much. The rest there is all skins, which you don't need. I'm just going to scrape the outside, get the last little bits off. All right. And then leave that over there. All right, so we've got our filling for our sweet rolls. I smell the lamb. It's almost done. Cheers, everybody. Yes, but so so Coldrake asks, hey Coldrake, by the way. Coldrake asks, could you have pureed all of that in a food processor or a blender instead of pushing it through a sieve? Yes, but then you'd still want to push it through a sieve because the skins on a cranberry that hasn't been turned into a raisin, but the actual skin on a cranberry is very thick. And it can get stuck in your teeth. And if for the sweet roll, you don't want the skins in there. Also don't want any seeds. I mean, It's an extra step, but it's worth it. It is beneficial. Oh, there we go. And it makes life a little easier in the end. So, now I'm going to preheat, well, no, I'm not going to preheat my oven. I'm not going to preheat my oven quite yet, because the next step, I got my silk pad that I didn't clean yet. I'll get our dough, which has doubled in size, which is what you want. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. It's so pretty. And I'm going to get some flour for this next step, because this is going to be a bit of a mess. It's going to be messy. It's fine. You know? All right. As I also grab utensil I didn't set up. Your handy dandy rolling pin. This one is also older than I am. This was my grandmother's. There are some things you don't really need to worry about. It just is. Also, a bowl scraper. These things are so great. But, very nice poof on our poof. Plop right out. Oh, so happy. That's going to be a happy. What I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to divide this in half, because I don't need to make as many sweet rolls as this amount of dough is going to make. I'm going to divide this in half and put that half dough back in the bowl and roll set it to the side. And the nice thing is, now that that dough's there, I can do something else with it. So, I'm going to take this half a dough, I'm going to sprinkle a little flour on it, a little flour on my hand, and then, most important step that people forget, flour your rolling pin, people. It is very useful. It makes your life easier. And you know what? It will make life so much fun. All right, so then I'm just gonna roll this out until a basic rectangle. And it doesn't matter if it deflates, because we're gonna take a second and when we make these into the knots that we're gonna make them into. So that's the other thing. We're gonna make these into knots instead of like normal traditional. So yeah, so I'm gonna do it this way because it takes up less space. So once I get a rectangle, it looks kind of like this. Isn't that pretty? You can kind of see the little flecks of the orange zest in there, telling you that it's going to taste really yummy full. Alright, so where did I just put that? Here. We're going to take our cranberry and use half of it, spread it out always start with less and then drizzle the rest all over.
I actually halved the recipe for this filling on purpose. And then you just spread it out through the dough, on the dough. Whoop. Excuse me, Bella, you're in the way. I love you, but you're in the way. I know you want dinner, but as soon as I finish this step, which means I can then let them proof, just drizzle that last bit of filling. And then I'm going to teach you another trick that will make this so good that I have done many a time before. Spread it out. Now, when you do this with cinnamon rolls, you do it with softened butter and cinnamon, and it kind of makes a paste. When you do it like this is a little thin. It's not quite jam-like because it's got a little more liquid. So what I like to do, in my reminder that things can be easy life and that there are no hard and fast rules, I like to just get a little sugar and just sprinkle right into the cranberry. Just, a little. Just a little. It'll dissolve, and given the amount of cranberry and the fact that we didn't put any sugar in when we were reducing this, it'll actually just provide a little crunch. Yeah, the cinnamon. Yeah, cinnabuns. All right. So now we're going to take our dough, come on, it wants to be helpful, and the nice thing about a silk pat is it will help us, literally. So I'm picking up the silk pat, can't show you this because I have to move the camera and it doesn't work. So I'm picking up the silk pat and using that to fold it in half, and using that to kind of push together the two piece halves of this dough instead of rolling it like you usually do. I'm just gonna fold it in half. Right like that. So now, excuse me, Bella. I know you're hungry. I'm gonna hand you your dinner in a second. So now it looks like that. I just took the silk pat and boop, and it fell right on top of itself. And then taking a pizza cutter, because you could use a knife, but I want a pizza cutter because it's a lot more accurate. You're just supposed to cut into these into 1-inch strips. Or ½ inch, I should say. Whoop. It's gonna burp at you. That's okay. It means the filling's good. And use that to cut the dough. Right like that. And then taking my other silk pat, which I of course forgot to grab when I grabbed the first one. Silk pat goes on the cookie sheet. These are very useful. You can usually find them. They are baker's friends. They make my life 10 times easier. So, cookie sheet with the new silk pat on it. Moving the excess sugar out of the way. Moving the bowl that had our filling out of the way. Moving the excess flour out of the way. That's half the thing about cooking, is making things get out of the way. Then you're going to take your very messy dough, and I'm just going to twist it in on itself, and then twist in on itself. And mine is leaking, which means I probably didn't thicken this enough, but whatever. It's fine. It will provide the flavor that I want. And it'll just absorb actually all of this as I twist in on itself. All of that goopiness. I probably shouldn't have used the extra goopiness. But you know what? That's why these are experiments. It'll taste fine. It'll just be messy. And we don't mind messy, right? Messy isn't bad. Messy is just messy. Messy is just messy. At this point, who cares, right? It's just us. Perfection is good, but sometimes overrated. And now I'm just going to set these over here on the stove. You can see that they're not perfect. They're messy, but they're still going to taste good. And I'm sure if McFlanagan is still in chat, they will say that, you know, help me figure out exactly which steps I messed up. I think I just didn't add enough. I had too much and I did it wrong. All right, Bella, you want your dinner? Let me get you your dinner. There you go, baby. Okay, Bella has her dinner. And she is actually eating, which is a good thing. And then I'm going to take this other half of this sweet roll dough, and with my last silk hat, put that on another cookie sheet. And this one's going to be a little different. Instead of using the filling, I'm going to roll it out a little. Hell yes, Mom, who the heck are you talking to? I'm hungry. Yep. Rolling it out in this other silk pad I've got. And this one, I decided I was gonna, rather than do the filling, I have craisins. And I'm gonna stuff craisins in it and roll it and bake it as one piece. And craisins really are that good. So in this case, we're just taking the craisins. And because of the way craisins work, they would retard the baking. But now, see, I pour them out onto the pan, onto the dough, right like that. And just using my rolling pin, push them into the dough. An entire week, Coldrake. I think you're being unrealistic here. I think you're being unrealistic. I think this is gonna be, you know, a couple days. Oh, there's a hole. There's not enough craisins. Hold please while I add more craisins, so that the amount of craisins are balanced.
into my dough. Now, this one I'm going to roll more traditionally. Roll up. And then I'm going to just make it one big sweet roll, right like this. Cover that to let that proof a little bit. Well, I get the actual last thing for real dinner, and I preheat the oven. Actual last thing for me is I like rice with my lamb chili. I've done it with baked potatoes too. Twice baked potatoes are even better. But tonight I'm just gonna use rice. But I don't feel like cooking rice because we were doing this pastry. I wasn't sure about because we were doing dessert. The timing was a little off. So rice has to be perfectly timed. Or you buy 90-second rice from Uncle Ben's and nobody complains. Just saying. Basmati, hashtag not sponsored. Look, Coldrake. I do a lot of things at home. Make bagels is not one of them. I am, however, bagel snob. Unless you're importing the water from New York, it don't taste good. She's outside. I'm going to heat up my rice, and then I'm going to serve myself while I heat up the oven and let those, well, they sploofed. You know what? It'll taste fine. It'll all taste fine. It'll be perfectly fine. Oven temperature, however, I need to preheat the oven because that is the important thing. Oven is preheating. Letting that go. Did Ben lose his title? I guess he did. Apparently Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima no longer, but he's Ben, I guess. Wait, Coldrake, how could you not have had a New York bagel? Bagel, schmear, lox. Life, that's it. Or a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. Or hard roll, either one, but usually a hard roll, but oh my god. Okay. Now, I'm going to take 2 seconds, get some stuff out of the way, and I'm going to move the pot so you can see it. So you can see everything. So, I get my grabby thingies, which are important. I get a trivet with which I can protect the countertop.
I get my chili. Now you could add beans to this if you are a bean in your chili person. I am not, so I don't like that. But you could do it if you so desired. Now, let's stir this for a second. Yeah, there we go. Now this does look a little oilier than some chilies. That's because of the harissa that we put in, which is an extra oil. So it's more like adding extra flavor. And that's why you should have some rice with it, which just binged. The rice just binged. We have rice. And again, make fresh, go right ahead. I didn't time things so that we could make fresh. I also don't have a rice cooker, so it would be more and more thing on the stove. The trouble with trivets. I remember that TOS episode. Yes. Yes. Good. This is good. All right. Now. Bowl. Rice into bowl on the bottom. Again, I've got a good basmati here. The other nice thing about, these packet rice things, just enough for me. Just enough for me. Even half a thing is just enough for me. Get some chili in here, right across the top of this rice. You can see this beautiful flavor in a second. I have one last thing to add to this. Ooh, it's gonna look so good when I show you this. I like to balance flavors and play with things. So one of the things I like to add to this is a little, instead of adding salt or pepper, a little crumbled feta. Again, Greek style feta is goat cheese or sheep's milk. Now, tell me that doesn't look gorgeous. That looks like a wonderful dinner, doesn't it? That I get to eat now, as we finish waiting for the oven to preheat. And then I have leftovers for tomorrow. Or if I'm really nice, I might call Kelly and be like, hey Kelly, you want dinner? And she might say yes. I don't play with my food. I enjoy it. Enjoying your food is very different than playing with your food. This is gonna chill for a second because it's very hot and I can't even hold the bowl. So, dinner done. Cocktail done. Oven preheating. Because we're gonna put dessert in. But the dessert is gonna take a while. And are we good to keep going while we wait for dessert and sitting here watching me eat? Or do you want me to just take pictures after it comes out? What do we think? What are we thinking? Because it's 7:45. Veggie soup is even better than a 2-day dinner. It's a good basis for multiple other dinners, right? Look, I try to be efficient. I don't always succeed, but I try. So we've got cocktail done, dinner done and plated. So we're voting. I should give you a vote, right? I should give you a poll. Let's just do a poll. You know, we've got one vote to do it when the sweetbreads are done. Not sweetbreads, sweet rolls. Sweetbreads are an entirely different thing, and I'm not making those. Sweetbreads are not the same thing at all. So what are we thinking? Are we agreeing with Coldrake that I should just take pictures when dessert is done? Because I think it's like 7:45. We went a lot longer than I thought. That was tech issues at the beginning. We didn't start on time. Like if we had started on time, we probably would have ended on time, but we didn't start on time because I had tech issues trying to figure out how to make this work. I'll go with, we'll take pictures when the rolls come out of the oven and share those. I'll share those on Twitter, and I'll share them on my Ko-Fi. No, Dinner with D will not be doing sweetbreads. For those of you who don't know what sweetbreads are, they're internal organs of things, like kidneys and livers, I believe. No, sweetbreads are specifically, I don't know yet, and Ice Bunny. I want to try and do one at least once a week. I don't know what my schedule is next week. This week was easier because I was the only one home, so it didn't matter what I did, and I could just do what I wanted. Yeah, Coldrake, it's, nah, it's not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of sweetbreads. I appreciate their importance, but I am not a fan. But I'm gonna take a bite of my, do the classic, take a bite of what you just made so you can make everybody watching jealous, I guess. Perfect. Oh, there's the heat. That extra harissa is just perfect. Oh, look, and here comes Bella. We should let her back in. Now you could of course make this better. You could make this less or more heat based on what you like. I use the amount of heat that I like, which is good. We got another, 5 minutes before I even put them in the oven, so. Any Geek did push me over the teetering point on this. My concern is that I don't really have the extra cameras to do this, and I don't have an Elgato, like a Stream Deck or an Elgato to split. Perfect. There we go. Nice heat on that. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'll post the pictures of the sweet rolls when they come out of the oven. I'll post them on Twitter, but I'm also gonna post them on my Ko-Fi, which, if you don't know, I have one of those now. Okay, so AnyGig says this will work until I get the fancy different camera set up so I could, I tried. I was trying to do it with just the camera that's built into the laptop and the webcam, and it didn't like that. It didn't want to recognize the two at the same time. But, not so good. Shush! Your hair! Everybody knows your hair. We should say, Bella wants to say hi. Say hello to the internet, Bella. Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she doesn't want to say hi. She walks away from the camera. But I'll post the pictures on my Ko-Fi and my Twitter. But thank you everyone for being here. Thank you if you came in with Fawn on that raid. I really appreciate that. That was really great. I'm glad I'm glad people hung out to do this with me. Here's to dinner, everybody. We'll probably do a couple more of these. Bella wants to make sure you know that she's here. I am your friendly neighborhood Prax. thank you for being here tonight. You can find me here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the next episode of A Song of Agapio's Fortune. My high-level D&D campaign that I'm running. All the players started at level 14. They're level 15 now. And things are going to get interesting. Lots of very interesting things are happening there. And then Sunday, back here at 8 p.m. Eastern, as we finish the introduction to this season of Witcher Road's Home. We're in Mahakam. There was some family drama, attempted poisoning, an actual poisoning, and necrophages. Hi, Bella. Shush. We're going to raid, however, Trooper. We should send some love Trooper's way. Trooper is in my Sunday game, and they are currently playing, wait, where did the... Chrome, thank you for closing a thing I wanted to keep open. Let's raid Trooper. They're playing that horror game. So we should get ready to raid. Where's the new raid command? There's the raid command. All right, there we go. And we shall go over there, send him some love, and send him some lots of fun. But until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.